Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're doing something a bit different. We're taking you deep into Chiang Mai, Thailand.
hmm
But this isn't, your usual guidebook overview.
No.
Our mission is to give you a real snapshot. What's the pulse of the city right now? Like, what's actually been going on in just the past 12 hours? Today's July 4th, 2025.
Exactly. We've got a stack of local sources here, fresh off the press, so to speak.
Yeah, we've been digging through them.
And the idea is to sift through these top stories, pull out the key challenges, the exciting developments, basically give you a real feel for what it's like on the ground there.
And it's quite a mix, actually.
It really is.
We found stuff about urgent environmental responses, some really crucial cross-border talks, and then these, well, pretty ambitious long-term plans for the city itself.
Yeah, it paints a picture of a city that's not just, putting out fires.
Right.
It's actively managing the present, but also very clearly building its future. Kind of all at the same time.
Okay, so let's dive in. What's been the biggest headline in the last, say, 12 hours?
Well, the most immediate thing, no question, is the weather.
Monsoon season.
Yep. Chiang Mai is under a yellow alert right now. We're talking heavy, potentially very heavy rainfall.
Okay, yellow alert. So that means floods.
It means a serious risk of flash floods, yeah. Especially in those foothill areas and the lower-lying zones near the rivers. It's something they have to be ready for.
And it sounds like ready is the key word. Our sources say local agencies are already moving fast. They're accelerating plans to dredge and expand the Ping River.
That's right. And this isn't just tinkering around the edges.
No.
No, we're talking scale. Over 14 dredgers, more than 30 backhoes, basically working around the clock.
Wow. Okay, what are they actually doing with all that equipment?
They're aiming to deepen stretches of the river, taking them from maybe under 2 meters deep to around 4 meters.
Doubling the depth.
Pretty much. And also widening the banks. The whole point is to improve the water flow, let the river handle more volume.
That level of immediate heavy investment. I mean, what does that tell you about how Chiang Mai deals with these monsoon threats? Is this typical?
Well, what's striking is how proactive it seems. A lot of places might, wait until the water is rising.
Reactively, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here, they're pouring resources into preventative work under an alert, not just after disaster strikes. All those machines working 24/7. It suggests a pretty clear long-term strategy for managing floods that they're deploying rapidly now.
So it's baked into that planning.
It seems that way. It suggests they really understand these cycles and are trying to stay ahead of them.
And it's not just the big diggers and dredgers, is it? There's community stuff happening, too.
Absolutely. Alongside the heavy machinery, you've got municipally organized sandbagging efforts.
Right, along the Ping River.
Yeah, focusing on those riverside zones.
Yeah.
Protecting important commercial spots like the Night Bazaar, but also people's homes and businesses.
That sounds like a massive coordination effort.
It is. It's a real collective push.
Mhm.
You see that community mobilization in action.
Just thinking about the logistics, municipal teams are actually out there handing out sandbags.
And warning residents in specific areas, neighborhoods like Pa Dayade, Nong Hoi, telling them, look, the river's rising, you need to move valuables, get your cars to higher ground.
What are the challenges in pulling that off? Coordinating all those teams, getting resources where they need to be, especially when things are urgent?
Oh, the coordination is huge. You need good water level monitoring, first off.
Real-time data.
Right. Then fast communication to warn the right people. And then the sheer logistics, getting sandbags, maybe pumps, personnel to specific spots quickly. It really hinges on strong city leadership, definitely. But also,
Community buy-in.
exactly, a high level of trust and cooperation from residents. And it looks like Chiang Mai has that based on this response.
Okay, so the city's literally battling the elements, but you mentioned other things going on. So something about borders.
Yes, absolutely. While all this flood prep is happening, there's another big story playing out concerning cross-border issues. The 37th Regional Border Committee meeting the RBC between Thailand and Myanmar just finished up.
Okay. RBC. And that's significant.
Very significant.
Yeah.
It tackled some really pressing problems that directly affect Chiang Mai.
And these aren't small problems, I gather. Our sources mentioned two big things Thailand raised.
That's right. First, there's serious concern about heavy metal contamination.
In the rivers.
Yeah, specifically the Kok and Sai rivers. They believe it's linked to unregulated gold mining happening across the border in Myanmar.
Okay, that's one. What was the second?
The second is something we hear about globally, but it's a major issue there. The rise of these cross-border call center scam operations.
The scam gangs. Right. big, complex issues that a single city can't tackle alone.
Precisely. Which is why the outcome of this RBC meeting is so interesting.
What happened? Did they just agree to talk more later?
Actually, no. It seems quite positive and concrete. Both Thailand and Myanmar explicitly agreed to cooperate.
Cooperate how?
On the contamination issue, they agreed to joint water testing. And on the scams, joint action against the fraud networks.
Joint action. That sounds promising.
It is. Getting that kind of formal agreement on tricky issues like pollution and cybercrime across a border, it's a pretty significant step. It shows these things are being treated like, serious security threats now.
And is this just talk at the diplomatic level, or is it filtering down? Are we seeing action in Chiang Mai itself?
We are, and that's key. It's happening in parallel. The Chiang Mai governor, Niarat Pongsathorn, he's already overseen putting mobile water purification units in place.
Along the Kokok River, where the contamination fears are?
Exactly. And public testing centers, too. So while the RBC agrees on cooperation, the local government is already providing practical solutions and reassurance for residents on the ground.
So it's like a two-pronged approach, high-level agreements and immediate local action.
Yeah, it demonstrates that connection. Diplomacy backed up by tangible measures.
Mm-hmm.
And the RBC meeting ended with this renewed pledge, specifically to strengthen monitoring of toxic river pollution and dismantle those scam operations.
Okay, that's a lot to be dealing with simultaneously, the weather, the border issues.
Mm-hmm.
But you also mentioned longer-term plans, a city looking forward. What's happening on that front?
Right. Beyond the immediate challenges, Chiang Mai is definitely positioning itself for the future, aiming to be more of a global hub.
How so?
For starters, they've just secured hosting rights for 6 international conferences next year in 2025.
6? That's quite a few. What kind of conferences?
A real mix. Fields like engineering, medicine, environmental science, social sciences. It shows its growing appeal as a place for international meetings. Yeah. There's MIC data from the Bangkok Post backing this up. Meetings, incentives, conferences, exhibitions.
Okay. And attracting those sorts of events doesn't just happen overnight, does it? What's behind that success?
No, it's part of a longer game. It really connects back to this thing called the Creative Chiang Mai City Initiative.
Ah, yes, I saw mentions of that. It's been around a while.
Since 2010, actually. It's this long-term strategy focused on boosting Chiang Mai's strengths. Local design, crafts, digital media, tourism, its whole creative sector.
So investing in its identity, basically.
Exactly. Building on what makes it unique. And now you have experts saying, okay, we need to properly institutionalize the committee running this, make sure that growth is sustainable long-term. It's about building an ecosystem, not just one-off projects.
An ecosystem, I like that. And part of that ecosystem must be infrastructure, right? Especially if you're aiming for global hub status.
Absolutely critical. And there's a major project on the books.
A light rail transit plan. LRT.
Light rail in Chiang Mai. Okay, tell me more. Is this actually moving forward?
It seems to be. The plan is for a 35-kilometer network, 3 lines. And they're targeting a launch in 2027.
2027, that's ambitious.
It is. It's a big undertaking.
What's the scope? Where would it run? It's planned to have both underground and overground sections. And the goal is connectivity linking the airport, key hospitals, universities, the main sports stadiums.
So hitting all the major points.
Right. The primary aim is to tackle the city's traffic congestion, which can be, pretty bad.
I can imagine.
Making the city easier to get around, more livable. It's a huge piece of the puzzle if you want to be a major international destination and keep quality of life high for residents. It signals real commitment.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together. What we've looked at in just the last 12 hours. It's quite a picture.
It really is dynamic.
You've got the city actively fighting immediate environmental threats, the monsoon, the flooding risk.
The dredging, the sandbags.
Then dealing with these complex cross-border problems, pollution, crime gangs.
Right, through diplomacy and local action.
And at the exact same time, they're laying down tracks, literally and figuratively, for future growth, attracting global events, planning major transit projects.
That's really the heart of it, I think. These different news items, maybe they seem unrelated at first glance.
Yeah, dredging rivers and planning light rail seem worlds apart.
But taken together, they show a city constantly adapting, collaborating, investing. It's tackling today's urgent needs while simultaneously building for tomorrow, all within the same short time frame.
It makes you think, doesn't it? You see these concurrent pressures, climate change impacts, these tricky cross-border issues, the challenges of rapid urbanization.
All hitting at once.
Yeah. How does a city like Chiang Mai manage that balancing act? trying to develop sustainably while also having these global ambitions. Is it maybe a model here for other cities?
That's a great question to ponder. What can we learn from this multi-pronged approach they seem to be taking across governance, infrastructure development, and that community resilience we talked about? Is
Yeah.
definitely something worth thinking about.